This is you. Advertisements are constantly telling you what you need or how incomplete you are without those things. Algorithms feed you only what you already like, leaving you in a bubble. Politicians keep reassuring you that their ideals are the best and how you should blindly support them if you want good things to happen to you. This is the world we live in. One of manipulation so deep we don't even notice when it happens. We don't think for ourselves often. It takes a lot of energy and you risk being disliked for thinking differently. Thinking for yourself is the most important thing in the age of information, but many don't know how because nobody has taught them. But this is not the brand new issue. This is Socrates, one of the, if not the most famous philosopher in the world. The man called the wisest man alive, the man who challenged those in power without fear of imprisonment or death. Socrates, who had a large belly, was small and stocky, his head slowly balding, his beard unkempt. He who had bulging eyes and a flat turned-up nose. Other Athenians made fun of his ugliness, but he didn't care. He walked barefoot, wore only one old coat, and rarely washed himself. He didn't drink or eat much, but he liked a bit of wine every now and then. Anyhow, a real role model for the kiddos. Who was Socrates really? Maybe we will never know. We only know he existed because his student Plato wrote about him. If you played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you know that in Socrates' time, a huge war broke out between Athens and Sparta, the Peloponnesian War. What you might not know is that Socrates fought in that war. It's said he was a fearless soldier, incredibly gutsy, even in the face of death. Still, Athens lost the war. The loss brought the end of the Athenian Golden Age, and the Spartans replaced the democratic government with an oligarchy called the 30 Tigers. Oh no, wait, the 30 Migrants, the 30 Migraines, 30 Vibrants, 30 Hydrants, 30 Dormants, 30 Doormats, 30 Seconds to Mars. Lyrical genius arc now over, the 30 Tyrants. They ruled for only 8 months, but they left Athens in crumbles and corruption. Two factions formed after the fall of the 30, one in support of democracy, another in support of the oligarchy, but both were incredibly corrupt. While the factions were fighting against each other, Socrates never picked a side. He criticized both governments. He claimed that both sides just wanted gratification and appraisal for their policies, but that neither really wanted the best for the people. This made Socrates a very controversial figure. When Athens eventually rebuilt its democratic government, Socrates was brought on trial for charges of impiety and corruption of the youth with his philosophy. The majority voted for Socrates to be found guilty. The thing is, he could have fled Athens, but he didn't. He accepted his death. So he chucked the bottle of hemlock poison like he did with bottles of wine. The great thinkers of history are often called that because of the timelessness of their ideas. Socrates' 2,500-year-old philosophy is still very relevant, especially in the age of the internet. If he were alive today, he would probably have a heart attack immediately after arriving, after seeing how people give away their brain cells to those who really don't care about them at all. So here is how to think for yourself from the philosophy of Socrates. Socrates is famous for saying he knew nothing. Okay, but how is that possible? Was he an idiot? A dummy-dumb? We all have biases. It's a consequence of having likes and dislikes. By claiming we know nothing, we can protect ourselves against these biases. So many people think they know so much. It would be perfect if everyone recognized their ignorance. So many Reddit servers would be spared from useless Bible-long discussions where both sides are like, I'm right, you're wrong, and there's nothing you can do to change my mind. Nobody knows everything for sure. Not even scientists formed at Harvard. And if you think you do, then you're probably as knowledgeable as a fish with Alzheimer's after getting hit by a truck. Why is it on land? Not even it knows. If we accepted that, then instead of immediately replying with a death threat and a racial slur to an opinion we don't agree with, we could instead just say, I don't know enough to say anything about that. It's important to admit your ignorance first, before you speak. Not only to avoid unnecessary conflict, but also to be humble. You don't want to join the free-thinking mob of Reddit and Twitter, do you? When we listen to people talk, we rarely question anything they say, even if what they are saying is wrong and stupid. We will never know that though because we never question them. Socrates questioned everything everyone said. Politicians, doctors, mathematicians, experts, and amateurs. To do this, Socrates created something we call the Socratic method. The method is about asking a bunch of questions to understand what the person really means by their opinion, avoid misunderstandings, and expose contradictions. You start by asking for a definition of the topic of discussion. Then you bring in arguments against the opinion of the other. Look out for any contradictions that can arise in the other's train of thought. Confusing, maybe a little. So here's an example. Yeah, I don't think mental illness is real. Those who say they are mentally ill are just dramatizing normal aspects of life. Help me understand you. What do you mean by mentally ill? Mental illness is a name reserved only for those who have something in their heads that prevents them from living in a society or with themselves. I feel over the last years, people have started to call mental illness any minor inconvenience in their heads. You just said you didn't think mental illness was real, but now you just contradicted yourself by saying it does exist. Yeah, but my point still stands. Mental illness should only be that which prevents you from living well. Alright, I can see you draw a clear line between what is mental illness and what is not. Right. Let's find out what that line is. Would you consider anxiety and depression a mental illness? No, because depression is just sadness, which everybody feels, and anxiety is a natural survival mechanism. Okay, have you ever heard of the social isolation, self-hatred, and disdain for life that anxiety and depression can bring? Yeah, I have. Wouldn't you say those behaviors make life in a society and with yourself extremely difficult? Yes. So by your own definition, anxiety and depression do fall into mental illness territory, even though previously you said they didn't. So what you have just proven here is that you have no idea what you're talking about. Socrates not only did this to others but also to himself, hoping to expose his own ignorance and approach the truth. I have tried using the Socratic method in arguments and it works great. Once you start questioning the base of others' beliefs, you understand how little they actually know about a topic, or how confused they were without knowing it. If you want to use this though, be prepared to be insulted. As I have. When you question the basis of other people's beliefs, their entire belief system falls down. People feel insecure by that and will think you are attacking them. Socrates always spoke his mind, even if it could lead him down a dangerous path. Imagine you are at your family's Christmas dinner. Your Uncle Terry says something that could have been taken straight out of Musk's Twitter. Every year, your family keeps quiet. This option might be the safest. Socrates, however, would say that you can't just shy away from confronting Uncle Terry. You should use the Socratic method calmly and try to dissect your uncle's argument. This can have really bad consequences for you, but Socrates would say that you still have to do it if you want to live a life true to yourself. It's hard to speak up, especially if you're alone. It's way easier if you join a group that thinks the same as you. Still, you shouldn't blindly join them. Critique their beliefs. If then you still like their ideas, that's great. But Socrates would probably tell you to still not join them. Picking sides is a huge step to just hand over your expression to the group. I hope you can take home one thing or two from this. I love the Socratic method. I especially love it when people lose their minds because of it. I then unsheath my snot-filled, pig-sounding hyena-esque laugh at them as their brain melts and their opinions are shown to be based on nothing. That is all I got. Bye.